Hello! Welcome to a Battle Royale episode. I haven't done one of these in a few months, and I was feeling like doing a year ranking where I would just watch everything I own from a year and rank it all. And then I realized that I have so many from a year, and every time I go to do that, I always end up giving up because I get halfway through and I'm like, it's taken me a month, and I end up giving up and I don't put the video out. So I decided to change it up. I'm going to be doing a ranking of about a well, not about of 100 movies from the year 2008. But I'm going to do it in 10 Battle Royale episodes where I only have to watch 10 per episode, and then I can do the whole year slowly. And then at the end, I will put the 10 winners against each other in a final battle royale to see what my top 10 or even my number one movie of the year is. So I figured that'll be a fun way to do it for me. It'll make it so that I don't have so many movies to watch before I can do a video, because that's what usually slows me down. Is I'll take on a task way too big because I enjoy ranking like years, and then I'll finish it, but because it takes me so long, I just don't bother with putting up a video. So I figured doing it this way, where I watch 10 movies, like in the last 5 days, I've watched 10 movies from 2008, and I'm going to show you the first 10 I watched, and I got them ranked, and there'll be a winner, and that winner will go on to the finals to have a chance to take the belt home. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. I have a fun time doing it, and it's cool showcasing off an entire year. So I think sometimes people forget some movies that came out certain years, and just give you a refresher and what I think of each one. So these are the 10 that I chose to watch in the last few days, and it's all genres. So this is all movies that came out in 2008. That's the only criteria, is that it had to come out in 2008. So the first one I'm putting in is Hancock. We have Horton Hears a Who. Yes Man. Rockin' Rolla. Quarantine. The Day the Earth Stood Still. The Dark Knight. The Forbidden Kingdom. What Happens in Vegas. And the final, number 10 here, is The Children. So yeah, those are my first 10 picks. And I watched all of these in the last, I said 5 days, but it's actually only been about 3 days. It was one before I went to bed like 3 nights ago, and then I watched all the rest of them in that little bit of time, and also some other stuff too. But this is the first 10 for 2008, and I wrote them down, my ranking obviously. And let's get at her. Get right to it. In 10th place for this episode, I'm going to be eliminating, and I've talked about this movie a few times on my channel, and it's The Day the Earth Stood Still. Um, this is directed by Scott Derrickson. Uh, it's his weakest movie, I think. I only gave this a 1.5 out of 5. One cool thing about this, though, is it comes with the regular movie, and then it comes with the 1951 release as well, which I think is like leagues better than this remake. So there's that. It's a cool release for that reason. But with The Day the Earth Stood Still, I just like, it's got a star-studded cast and it's got that end of the world thing. I just don't care about the storyline in this one. Like, humans are destroying the earth, so the aliens have come here to annihilate us all unless we change our evil ways. It's your typical global warming storyline, which I've seen a few times in these end of the world apocalypse movies. But this one just doesn't. I don't even like Keanu Reeves in this, and I love Keanu Reeves. Like, I love his style of like dull acting in these action movies. I actually like it, but it just does not land for me. It's so boring. I've talked about it this multiple times on my channel. I did a Scott Derrickson complete. Don't mind my dogs. I'm home alone, so my dogs are out roaming. They might get loud. I did a Scott Derrickson ranking, and this was last place on that ranking of all his movies. And I'm just kind of done talking about this one. That's why I threw it in this first Battle Royal, just to get it over with. Get it out of here. Because I don't ever want to watch this again. I watched it again just to see if I hate it still as much as I did the last few times, and yeah, hated it even worse. It was just more boring. So yeah, that's my first elimination in 9th place. Or in 10th place. It's not getting to the end here. And then my next elimination comes for another shitty remake. And that's the American version of Wreck, Quarantine. This is like a 2 out of 5 from me. Can't believe Bloody Disgusting, the best horror film of the year. It's like, what the heck are you guys smoking? And no, this is like I love Wreck. Wreck is like close to a 5 for me. It's between a 4 and a 5. And this just feels like it's like they're trying too hard to actually be Wreck. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's a weird thing to explain. It feels like they're just like they had such an easy, perfect premise. And Wreck is also a movie that doesn't need a remake. Like, that movie is so good by itself that you don't really need to mess around with it. So to do an American Griffin, can you go, please, you bugger? You don't really need an American remake of this movie. It's kind of silly. I don't really get it. Seems pointless. Jennifer Carpenter is decent. Like, her acting's good. Everybody's acting's good. It's just, I've seen Wreck, and it's kind of a one and done movie to me. Like, once you've seen that, you don't really need to see the same movie, but they're speaking English this time. And just, I don't know. I know I hate it a little too much, but I just find it completely pointless. I don't need it. It's a waste of my time. These dogs are driving me insane. They're like running circles around me and getting ready to like start barking and wrestling. They like to play wrestle. so they're probably going to cause me quite the disruption on this episode, but it is what it is, sorry. Alright. Yeah, I'll just get quarantine out of there. Not a fan. Next up, we're jumping up to a 3.5 now. And this is Horton Hears a Who. This is an excellent kids movie. Like, solid, man. Jim Carrey and Steve Carell just nailing the comedy, nailing the voice acting. It's also got tons of other people. Will Arnett, Seth Rogen, Isla Fisher, Amy Poehler, amongst others. Like, it's a stacked voice cast. And it's a cool story. It's a tiny world living on a flower. Like, it's a cool story. And anybody that's seen Horton Hears a Who, or even read the book when you're a kid, the Dr. Seuss book, knows what you're getting here. It's basically just Horton, the elephant. He hears the world, the Who world, on a pedal, basically just floating through his world, which is technically our world, and has to save them. Their world is in danger of ending, and he has to save them from destroying them, getting destroyed. It's got really good, heartfelt moments. Solid stuff. I don't need to go in depth on Horton Hears a Who. Anybody that likes kids' movies have probably seen it. Is this Illumination Studios? No, it's Blue Sky and 20th Century Fox. Yeah, Horton Hears a Who. Getting dropped. Now, getting rid of my first comedy here. What Happens in Vegas is going bye-byes. Just watched this one last night for the first time, actually. And I watched it alone. Kayla didn't make me. I was in the mood for just some rom-com type feel. And this delivered. I gave it a 3.5. It was actually pretty solid. But I like Ashton Kutcher. I'm going to be honest. I know he's a hit and miss actor for a lot of people. But I just like his, like, innocent, pretty boy face. Like, whenever he looks like he's in trouble and he's just got his innocent face. I don't know. Something about his acting I really enjoy. And this one's pretty solid. It, basically, his life is kind of falling apart. He gets fired from his job. He is basically on a downward spiral, so he decides that he's going to go to Vegas and just take a break with Rob Corddry as his best friend, another funny comedian. And then Cameron Diaz's storyline is she's like, I hate to say it because it's not true, but they portray her as an overbearing girlfriend. But it's only because her fiance at the beginning is a retard. What the heck is his name? Oh, I can't even remember. I'm blanking on his name. Oh, he's from Saturday Night Live. The heck is his name? Oh, I can't remember. Ridiculous that I blanked on his name, but she throws him a big surprise party at the beginning, and he comes home, and then he breaks up with her. Oh, it's Jason Sudeikis. Jeez. And he breaks up with her, and then all the people jump up and say surprise, and it's just like, whatever. So she decides to go on a trip to Vegas, and they both end up booking the same rooms. That's how they bump into each other. And then they get super drunk. See, I thought this was just going to be that's where the story is now, right? I just figured that's as far as it goes. They're just going to meet each other in Vegas, and it's going to become like a rom-com type thing. But it kind of goes in a different direction. They meet, they get super drunk together, they do it, and then they wake up married. And it's funny because neither of them know each other or like each other at all. So they're just like, all right, when we get back to New York, we're gonna get a divorce, get it done quickly. And they're fighting about it, and then as they're leaving, he drops his last quarter in the slot machine, and he wins $3 million. And so that's where I was like, ooh, this is actually gonna be fun. And they're both, it just cuts to comedic stuff where they're both holding the check and they're kind of fighting on it. So it's just light comedy. Some of the comedy's cheesy, but it always is in these. But then some of it's really good. So then they get back to New York and they try to get a divorce, and the judge says, no thank you, and I'm gonna order you guys to go to marriage counseling and attempt to work at your marriage before I grant you a divorce. And if you don't do it, then we will tie this $3 million up in legal fees, and you guys will see none of it. So that now they have to live together. And basically they just spend 3/4 of the movie trying to get each other, and trying to get each other to cheat on each other so that they can take all the money, and blah blah blah. And you know the story, where it's going. I don't want to say anymore. That's good enough. It's solid. It was decent. I actually enjoyed it. We'll ditch it there. And then next up here at number 6, we have The Elimination of the Children. This is solid shit again. This is another 3.5. This is like, I always think of this as a remake, but it isn't really. Like, there's a movie that came out in 1980 called The Children by Troma, and it's like a bus full of kids, and they drive through a toxic smog, and it poisons them all, and then they go home and they slowly kill all their parents by hugging them and stuff. And it's called The Children. This is the same thing, but they just changed the premise. Like, they're like zombies, sort of, instead, killing their parents. So I think it's a remake. It doesn't say it is. It doesn't. Looked it up. It doesn't say that it has anything to do with the original. But I mean, it's so much like the original with the exact same name that I just call it a remake of that movie, done in a different direction. But it's really solid. It's just a whole bunch of parents at a cabin, like vacation cabin, and they all brought their kids, and their kids start acting really strange. And they got colds, and they just start, and these kids, some of them are like the most annoying kids I've ever seen in movies. It's so funny when movies portray kids to just be like unbelievably annoying. I don't understand that because I have kids, and my kids have never been like that, so I don't get why movies like to make you think that children are just fucking garbage. But that's what this is. But there is a reason. They're all, like, infected with some kind of zombie virus. So, basically, they just start, like, uncomfortable shit starts happening, and the one girl tries to bite her mother's face and throws a massive tantrum, and the one thing, that's, you know where it's going. The kid's just trying to kill their parents are trying to survive. The one husband in this is, like, the worst movie character I think I've ever seen. Like, it drives me insane at how shitty of a person this guy is. Like, he won't believe his wife. He still thinks his daughter is perfectly innocent. He's, like, protecting her. He's pushing his other daughter over, and she smashes her head off a table and splits her head wide open, his older daughter, because she's claiming that the young daughter's fucked. And then he grabs her and takes her and runs to his car and gets what he's got coming to him, which is nice. But the movie, it's just really good intensity. There's a couple gruesome moments, including bones sticking out. I liked it. I thought it's really good, especially for low budget. But yeah, check out The Children at number 6. So there's my bottom 5 that aren't making it to my finals. And of these ones, my first elimination is a 4 out of 5. And this one's from Guy Ritchie, the director, and it's Rock'n'Rolla. Now, this was a first time watch for me for this. I had never seen it before. And it really, like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And it's kind of like, it's like all his movies. If you've seen Snatch, if you've seen Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, if you've seen a lot of Guy Ritchie movies, it's just like the rest of them. But this one has a couple pretty solid funny parts, including Tom Hardy playing a gay gangster. It's just a bunch of like gangsters, but not like mafia. They're just like criminal style gangsters, not like Italian mafia style. And excellent soundtrack, excellent music, a lot of good character building with all of the stacked cast here. Like Gerard Butler's the lead. You got Tom Wilkinson, Thandie Newton, Mark Strong, who's awesome in this, Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, Toby Kebbell, Jeremy Piven, Ludacris, the rapper, amongst a whole bunch of other familiar faces. And basically just all their stories are intertwining together, and it's just that criminals conspiring against each other. And somebody's a spy, like there's somebody working for the government, you don't know who it is. They're all trying to figure that out. The reveal's pretty good. I enjoyed who it becomes. Yeah, good comedy. There's some gay stuff in it that's quite funny with Tom Hardy. I was like, and Gerard Butler, that I thought was pretty comedic. Well done. Good stuff too. Rock'n'Rolla, check it out. And then in number 4, the 4th place. This one I just finished watching probably 15 minutes before I started this, and that's Hancock. This is the only the second time I've ever seen this movie. I watched it once back when it came out, and then I watched it here again. Oh my god, it's got a digital code. Expired like probably 15 years ago. And I didn't really remember a whole lot from it. I remember it just having a couple comedic parts. But it's actually got a pretty like heartfelt storyline. It kind of threw me off. And what I remembered of the movie was that Charlize Theron was like the supervillain. And that's not true. That's not actually a thing. They are lovers, sort of. So they're basically gods. And they don't even really know what they are, but they're just gods. They've been around for thousands of years. And they can't really escape each other, but then when they're around each other, they become human. So they have to kind of stay away from each other. And Hancock is just like a loser at the beginning, and it's his story of him actually becoming a hero that he's meant to be. And there's just some really good stuff. It's a solid action movie, some pretty good comedy, couple pretty cheesy moments that are like cringeworthy, or like meh, but whatever. And it just leads to a good heartfelt story and your typical superhero storyline done before like the MCU and before all that. So it's a solid movie. I would definitely check it out. Now we got our final 3. I'm going to stand them out here. We got The Forbidden Kingdom, The Dark Knight, and Yes Man. My top 3 for this episode, we have 2 4s and a 5. That's the score we're sitting at here. So, of my 2 4s, The first one is going to be the Forbidden Kingdom, getting eliminated in third place. Now, anybody that's watched my channel knows I'm a huge martial arts fan. And although this movie is a lot of, like, wire fu and CG type of kung fu, I'm not a huge fan of that at all, but this is Jet Li and Jackie Chan coming together in a movie, and they have an excellent fight scene mid-movie between each other. But it's a fantasy adventure kung fu movie with including the Monkey King, who's also played by Jet Li. Jet Li plays two roles, and Jackie Chan plays two different roles in this. And basically, this white guy who loves classic Shaw Brothers, he is in Jackie Chan's pawn shop at the beginning, and he's trying to buy, like, Jackie Chan's really old. He's got old man makeup on. And he's trying to buy a, just old Shaw Brothers martial arts films. And he sees this staff. And he's like, ooh, what's that? And then Jackie Chan tells him the story about what the staff is, and it needs to be returned to its rightful owner one day. So he leaves, and then he runs into a bunch of local thugs, and they find out that he hangs out at this pawn shop, so they make him go there and help them get in so they can rob the guy. And when they get in, they shoot him in the chest, and then they go to kill the white guy, and he grabs a staff and he runs out the back door, and then he falls off a skyscraper building, and he gets transported into a different realm, the fantasy realm. And then that's when the movie starts, and he goes on an adventure. He has to return this staff to the Monkey King because this fantasy realm was taken over by an evil empire and a bunch of evil immortals, and he needs to save the kingdom. But for me, the comedy all lands. Like, there's a really good spot in this where Jackie Chan and Jet Li, they're leading this guy and this other Chinese girl through the desert, and they're like dying for water. And Jet Li tells Jackie Chan that he should get down and pray to the Buddha, and maybe he'll send some water. And he's like making fun of him and mocking his god, basically, because they worship two different gods. And so Jackie Chan gets down, and it's really epic feeling. And then all of a sudden it starts raining on him, and he's like, oh my god, he answered the prayer. And it's just Jet Li pissing off the edge of the rock right on his head. Like, there's a lot of pretty solid comedy like that I got a good laugh out of. But there's a moment when they first meet in the temple, and they have a fight, and it's pretty freaking awesome. I would have loved for this to have taken place like 15, 20 years ago, when they were both in their prime physical condition and their martial arts skills, and not be a fantasy-based one either. Like, I would have loved to have seen like a true martial arts movie where they fought each other when they were in their primes, both martial arts masters, basically. But this is what I have. Sorry, I'm petting both my dogs at the same time here, just to keep them calm. This is what we get. This is all we have to work with, so I'll take it. But it all leads to some pretty solid action and a cool fantasy realm. I like it. 4 out of 5. Now, I'm assuming soon as I put up The Dark Knight, that anybody watching would have known that it was probably going to win this opening battle. Phenomenal movie. 5-star. 4-star. So, Yes Man is getting eliminated in second place for this episode. Really solid, heartfelt stuff here. Zoe Deschanel and Jim Carrey, Bradley Cooper, amongst a whole bunch of other people, like all these rom-coms are. But Jim Carrey's just, he's kind of like me. And maybe that's why I like this movie so much. He's someone that says no a lot and doesn't leave his house. Come here. Doesn't leave his house. It's funny, these two dogs haven't played together all day. They've just been laying separately, being good. And then as soon as I sit up and hit record on this video, now they're just running around, chasing balls, playing, it's being as loud as they possibly can. Fucking jerks. But yeah, he's just like, he always says no to everything, and he doesn't, see, I have an excuse because I actually have problems that stop me from being able to leave my house, but he just doesn't leave his house and says no to all his friends when they ask him to go out, and sits at home and watches movies all day, and that's his whole life. And then he goes to a seminar about saying the word yes, and he starts living it and believing it, like truly believing that just saying yes to everything is the way to live your life. So he just starts saying yes to everything, and good things start happening to him, and it's just a really like uplifting story about just like embracing life and living it to the fullest. And then Zooey Deschanel's character comes in, and it becomes a rom-com, and they start falling in love together, and she's like a down-to-earth girl too, like really good. Tons of quirky Jim Carrey style comedy all throughout. Good storyline. But it wasn't good enough to beat The Dark Knight. For me, The Dark Knight is like one of the best comic book movies ever made. It might be my favorite. I don't know yet. There's another contender for this year, actually, 2008, that isn't in this episode. So we'll get to that in a future episode. But Dark Knight, and I gotta shout out this 4K. Dark Knight trilogy on 4K, must owns. Fucking sound and picture on these things are just phenomenal. It's like on another level. Comes with a Blu-ray too if you don't own it. Just phenomenal. But I love every scene of this movie. Everything. I think everybody's acting's phenomenal. My one complaint is that Christian Bale's Batman voice irritates me slightly, but it's not that much of a complaint. It's like the tiniest. It's not enough to break it from its 5-star. But I think everybody does a phenomenal job. This is obviously Heath Ledger's insane performance. That was a damn tragedy that he passed away without even being able to receive his Oscar for it. And a lot of people are like, they only gave him the Oscar because he died. I disagree. I think that it has to be considered one of the best performances of that year for sure. I know there's a couple others we'll get to in future episodes here, but his is so good because he also, like, he's never really done that stuff before that. He's like rom-com actor and stuff. So it's just stand out. And awesome Joker. Probably the best Joker that there'll ever be, in my opinion. Joaquin gave him a good run in 2019's Joker, but for me, Heath Ledger's going to hold it probably as my all-time favorite. And I just love it all, man. Creation of Two-Face through Aaron Eckhart. I'm not a huge fan of the recasting to Maggie Gyllenhaal, but I also wasn't a huge fan of Katie Holmes from the first movie. So, didn't really care there. It's not a big deal. So epic. I don't really need to go in detail. If you haven't seen The Dark Knight, then you need to get your shit together and watch it. Like, it's one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. Might be the greatest. So, check it out. It's my first place winner for this episode. It's going to move into the finals. The final 10. That's my ranking. From worst to best. Right there. And yeah. my first 10 down. I have to say that this year, 2008, has got a lot of bangers. Whether or not there's tons of 5-star movies, I'm not going to reveal yet. But there is a lot of really good freaking movies to come in the next 9 episodes that I do. So good that I even tried to make sure I separate some of them, because even though this was, when I started this, it was just going to be I watch 10 movies that I feel like watching and then they go against each other. But if that's the case, I'd just put the 10 best ones in the first episode against each other, and then the rest of the episodes would start to get weaker and weaker, and you'd know who the winners are right from the get-go. So I tried to make it a little bit interesting by leaving some of my favorites, which also, my favorites might not be yours. Like, I would find it hard to believe that anybody wouldn't pick The Dark Knight out of that pile. I would be shocked if someone would think that one of these other movies I just named is better than The Dark Knight. And I'd love to hear the explanation of why and how, if that's the case. But, yeah, thank you for joining me. And I will bring you round 2, probably in 2 or 3 days. Yeah, thank you.